this presentation.
This meeting is being recorded.
Yes, this meeting is being recorded. I, for myself, don't have too much text now. I'm really happy with all the participants this evening, and I'm very happy to ask Martijn to put Alexandra in the spotlight so that she can start her presentation.
You can start, Alexandra. I'm sorry, you need to unmute yourself. Yes, you're good.
Great. Okay. Hello and good evening, everybody. I was asked to do a webinar for the members and the younger breeders of the Dutch Connemara Pony Society. And to be honest, I felt very honored about that because in the opposite to the other two breeders that held a webinar, we have never bred a horse winner or a Clifton champion. So I'm very happy about your interest in our ponies and in my opinion about breeding. And first of all, I want to welcome you all, and I want to say thank you very much to the organizers of these webinars. I have enjoyed the first two webinars a lot, and I think we all could learn something out of these webinars, and especially me, I was learning a lot because I didn't know anything about webinars before. So I was happy that Anna, Brigitte and Joey did the first two, and that I could first sit and learn. And I'm also very happy about the Dutch Connemara Pony Society that they are organizing these possibilities for us breeders to learn something about studs far away. And I have already said in a personal talking that I would be really happy if they maybe could continue this with other breeders in next winter, because especially in Corona times, it makes this very interesting, and it's good to learn something. And yes, okay, I have to admit about my language. I hope that everybody could understand my English and that you could see above my mistakes, please. Okay, Martijn, next slide, please. Yeah, I will start with the history of our stud. Our stud was founded with the board of the first Connemara pony mare in November 1989. So we, or especially Peter, is now breeding for over 30 years, these lovely ponies. And the very first foal here was born in February 1990. And in the same year, Peter bought Sue, which is somehow our foundation mare. She was by Sarsfield, out of Lady Sue by Bridgeboy. And we have several of her offspring here at our stud. Sarina and Fly to the Sky are two granddaughters of her. They are both by Larry, and we have already a great granddaughter of her. And since this winter, we have also a grandson of her with Larry Jr., and they are very valued members of our breeding herd. I have taken some time this week and choose some really old photos. You can see on the left side, you can see Peter with some years ago with a young foal by Larry. And the funny picture with the two girls on the gray pony. This was the really first Connemara pony I was riding. This was long before I came to Fugnitz and to Peter, and I already loved him very much. And also in this picture, you can already see how much fun we had at this time with the ponies. And in the middle, you can see Larry. our foundation stallion with Peter at 7 years old, still not really very much matured, and later on Larry with Fly, one of the mares that came out of our foundation line. And then in the history, I also wanted to tell you something about who are we? We are Peter and yes, me, Alexandra. I think most of you, some know me personally, some know me from Facebook. And we have 2 daughters. The older one is Lena. She's also very much into ponies. She's 15 years old now. She's riding most of the stallions and some of the mares, and she also wants to compete with the ponies. And our younger daughter is Jana. She's sometimes riding and sometimes helping me with the stable duties. And we are living together on the stud farm of Peter's parents, or that we got from Peter's parents, and it's in a very small village. It's in Vögnitz in Bavaria, so in the south of Germany. Yeah, next slide, please, Martin. Then I'm already starting with the most influential ponies here at our stud, and this is very clearly our foundation stallion, Larry. Larry was living here from 7 years old to 32 years old. He got a really great age. Peter bought him in Austria, where he was already a class 1 stallion. And he was by Lubin Larry, out of Grey Rockstar second by Ashfield Alex. Larry was always a very, very strong and powerful pony. He was not faced by anything. He was really the, I always used to say he was the king in the house, and that was always his behavior also. And he sired 6 class 1 stallion sons. And he is also the sire of 2 federal premium mares, and this title is very rare in Germany. Larry has 2 federal premium mares, and as far as I know, we have only 4 federal premium mares in whole Germany. So I think this is quite an achievement for this stallion. And Larry was so worthy to us because he really printed his foals. You could tell a lot before what he will print on the mare, his good top line, his very balanced and balanced gaits, a very good trot and gallop, and his good rhythm in the gaits. And he was really very worthy to us, and we love to ride all of his children. And we have kept 4 older daughters, and we have kept his very last foal that he sired at 32 years old, and we were really very happy to have him. Okay, next slide, please, Martin. Yes, another really, really influential pony is our other foundation stallion, Gestuet Morning Rock. I think most people know about him. Gestuet Morning Rock was by Hazy Dawn out of Frederiksminde Mellow by Hamlet of Oaklake. He was a very, very typical pony with lots of bone and a very good walk. And I think the most kindest character that I have ever met in a Connemara pony. I have learned myself a lot from him because he came here from Denmark, and he was, although not ridden for many years, he was really good ridden. And yes, I enjoyed to ride him. He was not only champion in hand at German shows, but also won 1 time under saddle. And it was always a big pleasure to have him around. And on the photos on the right side, you can see that he was also a perfect lead rein pony for my daughter. And at 6 years old, I could give her the stallion, and she could go out for a hack, and this really regularly. And I always knew he will bring her home safely. So yeah, I think if if Rocky wasn't really good advertising for the breed, no one else would have been. And yes, he had 8 Class 1 stallion sons, if I'm right. And between them, some show champions themselves. AC Samson of Engwang was German champion stallion, and Patrick Merlin was a German champion stallion and also international champion. And he made some good riding ponies too. Yes, next slide, please. Yes, then we come to the mares. I'm a really broodmare fan. I was always in all my life, I was a mare rider, like we say in Germany. I have pictured here Sternberg's Lady Lee by Larry. And I think good mares are the real backbone of every good breeding program. And every breeder has probably its own imagination of a good broodmare, and we favorize the mares who do it all and who make it so easy for us to train them and to compete them. Next slide, please. Yeah, I have printed here Lady Lee's pedigree, because she's one typical pedigree that I like to breed, because she's with one of our quality stallions, and out of the typical dam lines that we have here in our area of Germany. And it was always in my aims to preserve these mare lines, to not only import ponies from outside, but to use these bloodlines. And there is a funny story about Lady Lee, because in fact we did not really plan to breed her, because her dam Lillian, she had 3 foals by Larry, and they were, yes, not bad foals, but it was not the the one with the wow factor. And so we had actually covered her with Morning Rock. And when she was over with her heat, at that time, the big mares group was running out on the field with Larry, and maybe you could already imagine the story, because yes, I thought her heat is over. I can bring her back to the other mares. And then next year when she was foaling, I found the foal and I thought, oh, that won't be a Morning Rock baby, because it was a dun mare, and both sire and dam didn't have a cream gene. So it was very clearly that Larry bred her herself, and yes, the DNA showed it also. So one of our breast broodmares was not really our intention to be bred. So that's always a little of a fun story, because Lady Lee is really one of the mares that we enjoy a lot, because she does a lot under saddle, and we have showed her, and she's a really good moving beauty. And yeah, Larry decided he will make her. Okay, next slide, please. Yes, this is a site with a lot of our broodmares, and this is what I really value high in our mares. They have very regularly foals, and they do, beside that, a super job under saddle. In the first row, you can see on the left the Pelomino mare, that's Sternberg's Legally Blonde. She is by Ardas Murphy. And last summer, my daughter started to ride her. She was before only a pony for hacking out. And she realized very quickly that she's a very talented jumper. And they were at a few competitions. And if you think that this mare has foal number 4 at foot and foal number 5 in a row in her belly, I think it's really great that she's such a good jumper and has this power and strength to compete. And she will she will have this year another foal, and next year she will surely have a year off and will only go competing. And then in the middle, you can see Lady Lee again. And on the right side, it's Mandy with me in the saddle. She's a very talented dressage pony. And she and myself, we have too many duties on the farm, but I think she could compete also very, very well. She was also one time all around, South German all around horse champion. And I think this this title as a broodmare, this is, I'm very proud of that, to be honest. And in the next row of pictures, you can see again 3 Larry daughters. One is hidden behind the balloons. And this was at a jubilee show. Mandy and Sarina and Lady Lee, who do a really quiet and good job. And in the middle, you can see Rocket Girl with a young rider under the umbrella. And on the right, you can see Shana Sirsha, one of our broodmares, jumping with my daughter. So all of our broodmares are really regularly ridden, and we know her talents on the saddles, and we value that very much. Okay, next slide, please. This is a typical German thing. We have in German all-around horse championship, and this also counts as mare's performance test. For example, for the title States Premium Mare, they need to have this mare's performance test. And you can see on these pictures several of our broodmares. And this mare's performance test is something that I value very high, because they are really tested in every discipline. They have to do a test with all these spooky things that you could see in the first row. They do cross-country jumping. They do hack in the group, where they get grades. Then walk, trot, and canter get grades. And they do a little dressage test. And they are ridden by a riding judge. All this on one day. It's a really hard day for the mares. And then they get grades on this. And I'm always very proud if my mares are doing their good job. For example, Legally Blonde and Lena had a 4th place last year, with a lot of other ponies that don't have foals at foot, or are normally in a main job as broodmare. So I'm always very happy if the Connemara ponies can prove that well, how good they work and how easy they are to train. Next slide, please. Yeah, our aim in breeding is to breed a pony that everyone wants to put a saddle on and ride it. I really want to look at a pony and want to be eager. I want to be invited to put the saddle on and ride it. I'm not a really good judge who could criticize every single point in a pony, but I always see if the whole package fits, or it doesn't fit for me. And I always say these ponies that we ride and train, they have to have good conformations, they have to have good movements and a good character, because otherwise they wouldn't be that easy to train and that easy to ride and to compete against warm bloods. So on these 2 pictures, I have showed not the same pony, unfortunately, but they are very, very closely related. They both have the same sire. They are both by a Larry. And the filly on the left side is a granddaughter of Maike. Her dam is Malena by Morning Rock. And the stallion on the right side is like me, out of Maike. So again, a typical German dam line that we like to use a lot, and that has brought us really good riding ponies. And the stallion that we see there had a really good gallop and was a good performer in dressage and show jumping. And this is what we really like to breed. Next slide, please. Yeah, then we are already at the actual stallions. When Larry was in 2020 at 32 years old, he wasn't able to do any more coverings. And then it was very clearly to me that I want to have a successor for Larry that has as outstanding qualities as Larry had. And I made a search ad on Facebook and I got really offered many stallions, but to be honest, no one could compete against that pony, because Emperor is a real pony. He has a perfect body, a really good conformation and correctness, and I was really happy that we were able to buy him from Vanessa. He's by Castle Comet, a really outstanding stallion himself, and out of Orphy Schüracher by Dream of Olne. And I also really like the dam line in his pedigree, because he is not related to our ponies, and we could use him on all of our mares. He came over late in 2020, so in 2021 we had only 2 foals by him. One very dark dun filly that we kept, and Colt, who was born at another breeder, and he was even sold already as a stallion prospect to Ireland. We expect now 8 foals by Emperor, and I'm really excited about the new foaling season coming in, because I think with 8 foals we will really see to which mares he will fit and what qualities he can give on. Yeah, the facts: Class 1 stallion in the UK and Germany, and NN for HWSD. He won nearly everything in the UK what he could won, and he was also supreme champion at the very first German show he attended. So yeah, I think we couldn't have wished for a lot more. And at the moment he is ridden by my daughter alone. I'm not riding him anymore because she can do it really good, and you can see on the smaller photo how good he can jump, and we really hope he can be competed the next years. Yes, that's about Emperor. Next slide, please. This is our youngest stallion, Doonhill Duke. We didn't import him ourselves from Ireland, but we were on a very short vacation to northern Germany, and we visited the Springfield stud of the Lindemann family, and they had several really lovely fillies by Glencarrick Knight, and him as a yearling called by Glencarrick Knight. And already as a yearling he was perfect type and really good bone, and we were very happy that we could buy him. So we made another trip to the Lüneburger Heide and brought him home. Yuki is by Glencarrick Knight, like I said, out of Doonhill Queen by Corach Morcachel. And if you look further in his pedigree, you could see that he is bred very consistently on type and correctness. And we have now 2 years with foals by him, and he really breeds that also. So you can learn from this that if you look at a pedigree and it is that way consistent, normally the stallion should also breed very consistently. And yeah, he's Class 1 stallion in Germany. And last year he was shown for the first time at a German national show, and we were really happy that he was chosen as the youngest stallion, as champion stallion, and even reserve champion. And Yuki is a very very friendly stallion, and he likes to work with you. He's normally my own riding pony, and I always say the most quiet ones are for mommy because I need the quiet ponies, please. And yeah, I really like him a lot. He's a very, very friendly pony. Okay, next slide, please. Yes, and this is Sternberg's Larry Jr. We hadn't planned to buy again a third stallion, but yeah, when Annette wrote me and said he is for sale again, I was always fascinated of this stallion because he's a really outstanding mover, and I was always very happy which quality of offspring he brought in Denmark. So it was an easy decision for me to bring him home to Sternberg stud and offer also my daughter the possibility to ride this stallion. So Larry Jr. is by Larry out of Snowfly. So this is a mating that we made really often and have very good offspring from that. Fly to the Sky, the Federal Premium Mare, is a full sister to him. He is like Dukey. He's a carrier for HWSD. We personally have no problem with that because all of our broodmares are free from this gene, and we don't want to reduce a stallion on one single gene. If a stallion is from really outstanding quality, I think you can use him and just have to choose the right offspring from him then to breed further. And so I'm very happy that to bring him home because he has offspring jumping until FAE level, and one son who was competed until to the European Championships. And I think this is not very often the case with a purebred Connemara pony, and I hope he can bring a few nice Connemara sports pony for our stud in the future too. Okay, next slide, please. This is a site with all the class 1 stallions we have bred until now. In the first row, the two grays, they are both sons by Skosbo Morning Rock. It's Mercutio and Morning River from Mönchsee. Morning River was sold in Utero, but we are the breeders. In the next line, you can see Sternbergs Like Me by Larry. Then Marvin by Skosbo Morning Rock again, and Larry Jr., which I have showed you in the last page. And in the below, you can see on the left picture, it's Lenaro. Lenaro, I'm very proud of this pony because he was exported to Australia. And I'm very happy about because he brings, on one hand, the genes from his father, from Larry, that I favor all the time. And he has always a typical German dam line. And I'm very happy that I think these good male lines have on this way the possibility to be preserved in the breed. Then the next pony is Sternberg's Easter Monday. He is a very good dressage pony. He was the best purebred Connemara pony in dressage in 2020 at only young age. I think he was 6 or 7 years old at that time. Then the light dun, it's Cappuccino. It's a newly licensed class 1 stallion. He's by Cahalis Strain Con and out of Mendy. And on the right side, you could see the outstanding jumping stallion Sternberg Silver Sam by Clifton Silva. Next slide, please. Yeah, what is our inspiration? It's certainly a very big inspiration to see successful Sternberg's Connemaras all over the world and their happy owners. On these pictures, you can see Sternberg's Laredo. Laredo is interestingly full brother to Fly to the Sky and to Larry Jr. And he is very very successfully shown in Western disciplines, in several Western disciplines. And he was already 2 times even qualified for the German championships. And I'm very happy that his owner and rider brought him so high and that he could compete against the American quarter horses. And in the middle, the Dun, that's Sternberg's Lareno. He placed last year in his very first outing at in the first outing at M-level dressage, which is really high. And he was placed there at his first time trying, and last year he was only 6 years old. And I'm really happy also that his owner and rider competes him up to that level, and that they show to the big warm bloods that the Connemara ponies can do it too. And I hope that there will come more success from this couple. And the pony in the photo under him, that's Lenaro. And interestingly, these 2, they are full brothers. So one is competing in dressage, the other one is competing in Australia in jumping. And on the right side, we see again the stallion Sternberg Silver Sam. And Silver Sam is still the only Connemara pony who ever qualified for the Bundeschampionate in Germany. This is a very high valued competition for young ponies. And to start there are only the German riding ponies allowed, but you could qualify, and he's the only Connemara who managed this, to my knowledge, until now. Okay, next slide, please. Yeah, these are all typical photos from here at home. And I think they make a lot of my daily inspiration, because the ponies are our life. The family, all the family is involved in ponies, and yeah, we just live these ponies. It's always exciting to plan new matings, to wait these 11 months for the new foals, for the outcome of a mating, and then to see the trust, how it's built up between us and the foals, and to see some little princesses growing up. And I have a lot of fun with that. And I think this is it's a really great job to have, even when I sometimes in winter it's not so easy, but I love my job. Next slide, please. Yeah, my advice for breeders. For me, it's really, really very important that everyone goes out with your ponies. A lot of people have such great ponies, and the first times we were going with our stallions to competitions, people said, "Oh, a lovely stallion. Is that a Welsh, or is that a Spanish horse?" And it was so important for me that people everywhere, at competitions, at shows, at if you go for a hike with friends, they learn to know how good our breed is. And it's only possible if people go out as much, and if people advertise their ponies. Then, yeah, use the possibilities to compare them. This is a bit, we don't have a showing scene like in the UK or Ireland. So for me personally, it's always very important to attend shows with good Connemara pony judges. And even if you can't drive with your own ponies, go there, have an opinion, learn from the judges. I think it's really important to do that. Next advice is try to learn as much as you can. I really value that high what the Dutch Connemara Pony Society offers us with these webinars, or we can learn at a show. We can learn a lot from books. We can learn by reading the pedigrees, of the ponies. We can learn from visiting other breeders. If you want to be good in your job as a breeder, for me, it's really important to learn as much as you can and to use your possibilities. We have a lot of possibilities now with the internet and with the connections of all around the world. And yeah, it's like everywhere else. If you want to do a good job, learn something. And yeah, we need to have goals in breeding. What do we want to achieve? I have a look at my own ponies. What do I think has to be better up? So if I need more type in my ponies, I bring that in. And I think it's really important always to try and work for the ponies with the ponies so they could show their best, and to try to improve yourself on the ponies. And yes, I think the most important thing for me is have fun with the ponies and enjoy the privilege to ride and own such lovely ponies. I used to tell to my daughter what kind of ponies or horses I have ridden when I was her age. And I really love the quality of Connemara ponies, how easy they learn, how fast they are, how easy they are to sit on. As a young rider, I had often a lot of problems with my back. I don't have them anymore because of the good movements of the ponies that we ride at the moment. And with all the goals, we should sometimes just know what a privilege we have to have ponies in our yard and to enjoy them. Yes, okay, next slide, please. Oh yes, we have made it. Then if anyone else, or if anyone has any questions, now it's the time for your questions. And yes.
Okay, Alexandra, first I want to thank you for a very, very, very nice presentation. And the most beautiful thing in your presentation, I think, in everything you say, speaks the love for the pony, the love for the breed. And I was wondering whether I should ask you, where do you select your ponies on? But as I saw the pictures of your ponies, I think I can ask her, but I think very important for you is the character of the pony, isn't it?
Yes, and it's the whole package. Like I said, I'm not a real judge. I have to see the pony and I have to get a connection with the pony. And if I have this feeling that I want to ride this pony, and yes, it's probably a lot from the character also, because meanwhile I was always a bit of a more anxious rider. So yes, this is very important, but I need the whole package. I can't put it on one thing. I'm sorry.
Beautiful, beautiful. I really love how you describe it, and how the pictures show that you really want to have the whole package. I think it's beautiful. There are some questions in the chat, so I will read them for you. The first one is a rather practical question, maybe. How many ponies do you have in Vognitz? I don't know how to pronounce the name of your village, sorry.
Vognitz. This is Vognitz in our small village. We, in the whole stable, I would say we have 45 ponies, but these are not all ours, because our stallion is also, we have ponies and horses on livery. And I would say we have around 30 ponies, I think, yes. And also a lot from our livery horses are meanwhile Connemara ponies. I have sold several from our own breeding to some riders here. So let's say 35 are maybe Connemara ponies, and then about 10, no, I'm just talking to my husband. I think there are maybe 5, 6, 7 who are no Connemaras, and the rest, there are all Connemara ponies from the 45 ponies standing here.
Okay, Thank you. Thank you. There's a lot more question. Christina is asking, could you please specify what you mean when you say that Duke gives his offspring correctness?
Correctness. Very, very straight legs. Very straight legs, good bone. No, I don't know a word for that, but no weak bones, no weak joints. He prints that on his foals.
Okay, thank you. The next one is not a question, but a comment I will read to you. Anna from Denmark. Skjergaarden said, what an interesting webinar. Thank you so much. Your passion for the ponies shines through. Hope to meet you again. Kindest regards from Skjergaarden, Denmark. Anna and Brigitte.
Oh, very kind.
Christina says that your ponies are gorgeous. I think they are.
Thank you.
And in the Netherlands, you know them, Frédéric and Lucille watched their webinars. And they are asking whether you see any trends in what type of pony people are looking for.
Oh yes, in Germany I could very easily answer that, because in Germany you could sell non-gray ponies, ponies with lovely heads, pony that are around 148 or a bit higher, and you could sell ponies that love people. Very easy.
Yeah. That's a quite direct answer. Thank you.
We have a really big market with dealers importing from Ireland ponies, because the breeders can't or don't have any ridden ponies for sale. So they are bringing over a lot of ponies. But yes, foals are, I can sell my gray offspring too, that's no problem. But people are often looking for color and for a lovely quiet temperament and for lovely heads. And yes, there is the one or the other that wants to compete and looks for special qualities, but most of the people just look for a talented all-around horse where they can have a lot of fun with.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. There's another question. I don't know what it's a question or a comment. Hi Alexandra, what do you mean about the height of the Connemara ponies? Over 148. A lot of ponies are over this height. I think the question is, what do you think about the Connemara being over height?
Difficult question.
Yeah.
Ideally, in my opinion, if you know my family personally, we are all really tall ponies. And if we manage to breed ponies like Yuki with a chest like that, it's no problem. You can set a woman like me on a pony like him, no problem. But a lot of the German buyers want overweight ponies, and some of my mares are overweight. They are normally in height at 3 years old, but we all know that they are growing further. And our market here is clearly for the grown-ups. So I don't sell often ponies to kids, and people get very tall. And yes, so 148 or a bit over is ideally for these people.
Okay, thank you. Then Suna said, thank you for a very for an interesting webinar. It's so nice to hear how you value the fun and joy of your ponies. Finest regards from Suna. That is the last chat I have here. Maybe there are still people who have some questions. So if you have any questions, now is the time to put them in the chat, I think. No more questions. Well, Alexandra, then I really want to thank you for this very nice webinar. It's nice to learn a bit more about your stud. it's nice to learn a bit more about the vision of the breeding of the Connemara pony. And there is still there are some questions. Let's see, it's a bit difficult to see it in the
I understand it.
chat now. There's a comment, there's a thank you for us and for you for this webinar. Then Isabella stated that you have 2 carrier stallions. And there's not a question with that, it's just a statement. Oh, and then what do you think about breeding with a thoroughbred for cross country?
I have to admit that I'm not really much into that. I can imagine that these are great combinations. With a neighbor in our area, we sometimes made crosses with Tracanian horses. I hope this is right in English. And I think a good Connemara stallion could cross well with a lot of the warm blood or thoroughbred breeds. And if I see Legally Blonde competing, who has a lot of outside blood in her pedigree, I can only imagine that these are great horses for competitions. But they are then more for competitions, because I think not every typical Connemara pony rider could control these ponies when they have a lot more blood.
Okay, thank you very much. Then I get to the question that Isabella wanted to ask you about the statement of carrier stallions. She's wondering why you notice if that people are reluctant to want to cover with a carrier stallion.
Maybe, but to be honest, it isn't my problem, because we buy this quality of stallions to bring up the quality in our own herd. And with Junior, I don't know yet, because we have just brought him over from Denmark. I don't know if he will get a lot of interest or not. And Dukey has covered last year 3 or 4 outside mares. Yeah, he has covered last year a few outside mare and even 1 mare from a very, very well-known stud in Germany. So I think there are 2 breeders. Some breeders are totally against HWSD, and they say, oh my God, you can't have a stallion, a carrier stallion. And I think, okay, it's your decision, but mine is another way, because I have perfect foals out of this stallion. And I know it's so easy. If you have an NN mare and the carrier stallion, you can't ever produce a problem. So I think there are some breeders who will use them, and there are some who won't. And yes, we have bought the stallion for ourselves, so it's not a problem for us.
Thank you. Then we have, let's see. Thank you from Christina for the interesting webinar. And Michaela is thanking you and us for the webinar. And Marit is pleased with your answer about the explanation for the cross breeding with the thoroughbreds. Tina thanks you for the webinar. Isabella says she's really happy that you 2 breed with carrier stallions. They are so often excluded. And I actually think you should not exclude carrier stallions. You have to, of course, you need a mare who's free of the gene, okay. But you want to preserve the quality of some ponies. So I think it's, yeah. So Isabella's happy with you. Kaiser Leikas is thanking you and the Dutch Society for the webinar. Leah Kerstins is asking, great webinar again. Thanks again for everyone who was involved. Great idea. Hope there are more webinars to come. Sternberg Connemara's are a perfect example for that Connemara's can do it all. She thanks you.
Okay.
And yes, we are planning to organizing more webinars, because we think we talked about it before this webinar, Alexandra, that we think it's very nice to to get contact with other breeders, to share ideas about breeding and share knowledge about Connemara pony. Let's see. I think that was the last question. Maybe when I'm closing now that people are typing again, we will see that. For now, Alexandra, really thank you. As you can see, the people really valued your webinar and the love for your ponies and your ponies. Okay, I cannot. How the news for the new webinars? Well, when we organized a new webinar, we will put that on Facebook. And I think we will use the list we have now for all people who were attending the former webinars. And probably we will send the people who already enlisted to this webinars automatically the link and the invitation for the new webinars. But it will not be next month. In time we will organize new one, but we don't know it in which time right now. There's a question, but I'm not sure whether I understand the question. Teresi says, hi, what do you think about adjustments before competition? Cutting. Teresa, could you please type more? I'm not sure what you mean with the question. Do you, Alexandra?
No, sorry.
Okay.
I don't know what cutting is.
No. Do you mean we'll just wait whether there will be more reaction. Chris Dog says, lovely webinar, giving everybody a boost again. Lovely stud, really worth the traveling. Counting down to see my foals from your lovely stallions to here. So. Oh, and Marit de Vries says she thinks she means clipping the horses. We had the discussion with Joe Burke, the presentations of the pony, if you cut the manes and the tails or in clipping them.
I don't do too much of that. Just they have really long hairs out of the ear, but everything else, I like the natural look. We have a lot of breeders in our area who do meanwhile plating for only the German shows, but I don't like that. I'm the natural way, I would say.
Thank you. Oh, and now I clicked away the chat. Sorry, oh, there they are. Yeah, it was indeed preparing before competition, and you are there for the natural look.
More, yes.
Yeah.
Not everything natural is, yes, if they have a great cut in their mane, we fix it a little, but I don't take the mane off then.
No, okay. Someone said, is it possible to see the webinar somehow again? Yes, we have plans to put the 3 webinars online, but we deliberately waited until the last webinar before putting webinars online, because we wanted to prevent people thinking, well, I can look at it afterwards, and then having Alexandra talking to 2 or 3 people. That would not be nice. Okay. You had 54, 55 attendance this evening, Alexandra. So you had quite an audience, yes, and people kept listening all the presentations, so it was interesting.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, well, last possibility to ask a question to Alexandra. And if not, then Alexandra, again, free also virtual flowers and a virtual bottle of wine. Thank you very much. I enjoyed it very much, your presentation, and well, how good it is to see you on video, on Zoom. I really would like that it's possible again to travel, and so we meet one time face to face. That would be nice.
Well, yes.
Okay, everybody, thank you for attending. Martijn, thank you very much for being our host. Every 3 times we held these webinars. Martijn Fransen was our host, and he saved us with a lot of technical problems. So Martijn, this time I didn't forget to thank you. Thank you very much. Well,
Thank you,
everybody.
Ria. It was a pleasure.
Okay. Thank you. Goodbye, everybody. We will leave this
Bye.
meeting.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.